Hey y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Reunion Part 2. This is my second time watching it. I know a lot of people are mad after this. This wasn't my favorite. Like, Part 1 was really good, and Part 2, it was meh. Before we get into the review, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to A Ninja. And I take tips as well. If I made you laugh, brighten your day, you want to support the channel, or you just like my face, tip A Ninja. My Cash App is $CDiggy1, and my Venmo is Chris-Diggins. Thank you. So let's get into this episode. So we left off on Garcelle telling Diana to leave her the hell alone. And Diana's marble mouth lip licking ass is trying to make the case that Garcelle using the word evil is worse than when she referred to Sutton as a see you next Tuesday. Now, that is some BS. And then you have the other ladies, particularly Rinna and Erica, saying evil is worse. Well, if evil is worse, how come I have to say see you next Tuesday? Like, if I said that word, the C word, in the beginning of this video, I get flagged. It's so annoying when there's an obvious pact in the group and they're not going to hold other ladies accountable. Now, I get it. In, like, gay world, we use the word, see you next Tuesday in a different way. That is not the connotation that Diana used that towards Sutton. Of course the C word is worse, and Andy agrees. Anyway, speaking of Sutton, Andy asked her, does she want to clear anything up with Diana? Sutton is very firm when she says, oh, there's nothing to clear up. Like, we know our non-relationship. And Diana's response, she doesn't even acknowledge Sutton. She was like, well, I'm just really upset by Garcelle. Garcelle is like, what? Sutton is the one that called you a soulless MFer. God, I can't wait till we're further in the video so I can curse. It's like I have handcuffs on or something right now. But yeah, Diana is still focused on Garcelle like the bigoted female dog she is. Look, I'm trying to get around cursing, y'all. She claims that she's heard that Garcelle thinks that she's behind the bots. Well, the bots are the ones defending you. So of course I would think, if I was Garcelle, that you were behind it. She says she's opened up her own investigation to see who bought the bots. I don't care, and neither does Garcelle. Garcelle is doing her own investigation on that. Andy then asked Garcelle, can she elaborate on how Diana's coming after her? And Garcelle, she's done with her. She doesn't want to address Diana anymore. So then Andy thanks Diana for coming, and hopefully that is the end of me seeing this woman on my TV. Like, she's the worst housewife edition of all time. I want to say Carlton is probably a close second for this franchise. Like, just big mistake. Again, the producer that thought it was a good idea to add this woman to the cast, they need to be fired, jailed, electric chair, gas chamber, lethal injection. So then the ladies get a lunch break, and then we're breaking the fourth wall again, and we're seeing behind the scenes that the ladies go off in pairs. Like, the first pair is Lisa and Erica, and they're just saying how they're surprised that Garcelle really thinks that somebody in this group bought the bots. Not sure why. I don't put nothing against these bitches. We see Garcelle and Sutton kikiing together. They also discuss Crystal's situation a little bit. And then we see Kyle and Dorit, of course, and they're discussing Crystal as well, but more so saying that she's a hypocrite and a liar. Now, if y'all notice, Crystal is probably by herself right now, which further proves my case that she should not come back next season. She's had 2 seasons to manifest a meaningful relationship amongst the group, and she's failed. That's probably because she's just such a flip-flopper. Like, initially, I think she wanted to replace Teddy as, to be in the Fox Force 5. And those group of ladies was just like, nah. So then you can't just, mosey on over to Garcelle and Sutton now and try to, like, be all buddy-buddy with them. So yeah, she's just there sometimes. So I wouldn't understand why they would bring her back next season. Anyway, the reunion continues. We're on Kyle right now. She's showing Andy these tattoos, and it looks like Portia did those for her. So we get into Kyle's reel for the season. It's mostly fluff shit regarding family, the running gag of Mauricio having an affair with Dorit. They also bring up when Mauricio and PK was talking about a hypothetical wife swap, and we get some interesting tea. Like, from Erica, she said that she met PK before Dorit, and he came up to them, I'm guessing they were at a soccer game, and he asked her and her friend were they porn stars. So that means he was always a creep. It's funny that Dorit never knew this. They've known each other for at least 5 seasons on the show together, and it's never come up. And I don't know. It just says a lot about PK and Erica. And then Andy just glosses over it and just moves on. Like, please, can we expound upon that revelation? Also, side note, I don't believe that Dorit and Erica beef at BravoCon bullshit. This is another attempt to keep Dorit on the show. No, demote her ass to friend. She should not come back full time. Like, it's too much of a coincidence. Like, last year she had the break-in right before they were giving out contracts, and now we have this situation going on before they renegotiate contracts. Next up, we get to Garcelle's reel for the season, and it's just as light as Kyle's. They're talking about her beach house, the Birkin that she just got, as well as her book. She shares her own Bill Cosby story, which seems like everybody has one now. It's so crazy that this man was never shit in the heyday of his career. And I'm not sure if y'all knew, but I never watched The Cosby Show. It's just because I loved cartoons as a kid and I found it boring. Don't hate me. So while we're on the topic of Garcelle's book, we have to discuss Trashgate. And Andy immediately asks Erica about why she threw the book in the trash. And then it's revealed that Lisa Rinna actually threw the book in the trash. Her reason is she felt some type of way that Garcelle used her daughter in her book. And it really wasn't even like that. She just retold what happened on the show. Lisa was even a Karen about it and got her lawyers involved for her to take it out. So what Garcelle did was, I mean, for the first edition of the book, you know, she kept it in, but they made a new edition and took it out. And allegedly they moved on, but I mean, she still threw it in the trash. So not only did we find out that Lisa threw the book in the trash, but that video, she sent it to the group chat. And we found out that, of course, that there's a separate group chat for the Fox Force 5. So when the promo for the season came out and Garcelle used that clip to market her book, Erica then took that video and posted it. Which, when I saw that for the first time, I was like, well, that's pretty bitchy. But it's a messy reality show. Like, what do we expect? You know, like, I wasn't like, oh, that racist Erica. I'm just like, okay, well, Garcelle got her jab in and Erica jabbed back. You know, I'm trying to be fair. So then Andy tries to take it in a lighter direction, saying that, do you recycle, Rinna? And what's with the old phone? And they're just trying to make a laugh out of it. We then get to the topic of Garcelle's son working for Lisa Vanderpump. She's going to appear on Vanderpump Rules. I might give it a watch. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, because that show, I just can't get into it. Ever since they all got rich, the show got boring to me. So after the segment, we get a fourth wall break of Andy talking to the ladies about that being a big revelation, and they're still making light of it, you know, with the recycling, making jokes about it, throwing her book away. Then we see the camera pans to Garcelle, and she looks upset, clearly. And I missed that on my first watch, but I can see how it's infuriating to people. Like, it's just different when it's happening to Garcelle as opposed to the other women. Now, am I mad at this? A little bit, but I can still acknowledge the nuance of the situation of this happening to Garcelle. So next we get to Lisa's reel this season, and we see her crazy ass antics and how she's dealing with grief. It seems like she's gonna put all the shit she did this season on the grief she's dealing with losing her mom. And what do you know, the first question after the reel ends is Andy asking her, is she using her mom's death as a scapegoat? And if so, how does she explain her behavior towards LVP, Kim, and Denise Richards? When I tell y'all she just said a whole lot of nothing, like she didn't even answer the question. It was such a non-fucking answer, and I was really annoyed by Andy not pressing her hard enough, like really not holding her accountable for anything she did this season. It was just like, oh, well, I understand what I did this season, and you know, sometimes I don't. Like, girl, she really did not say anything. It was just a whole bunch of nothing. So now we get to Sutton's reel and the many beefs she had this season. She literally got into it with everybody except for Garcelle and Kathy Hilton. First, they address her beef with Dorit and her gun to the head comment. She apologizes profusely for it. She says she really regrets it. Like, the biggest regret in her life. Dorit accepts and glad that she acknowledges that. Kyle is now in the hot seat for like physically shaking Sutton as she was getting into it with Diana. And Kyle's just giving a bullshit excuse about, you know, how she was just intoxicated and she really didn't touch her that much. Girl, did you watch? Like, you were physically, like, shaking her. All she didn't do was slap her across the face. They then talk about how Kyle said she was trying to make it about herself, bringing up her miscarriages, and not long-winded ass Dorit trying to co-sign on somebody making it about them, when she's like a borderline narcissist. We then get to Erica's Sutton is a liability comment, and I'm glad that Sutton pointed out the hypocrisy and how the Fox Force 4 all look out for each other. Garcelle chimes in and says, I never had to escort Sutton out to protect her. And then even Crystal comes in and says, yeah, those four protect each other. I'm glad for once Crystal finally spoke up. So then we get to Lisa versus Sutton and that whole charity event shit, when initially she was just trying to defend her friend Garcelle on Watch What Happens Live. It turned into a whole big storyline. Sutton points out how Lisa came at her very hard this season and no one else. Lisa tries to assure Sutton that she doesn't hate her, but we all know Rinna is full of shit. Sutton then requests an apology out of Rinna, and she obliges, she apologizes, and afterward, Dorit points out her ignorance to the group because she doesn't know where Sutton's glue analogy comes from. So next, Andy discusses Rinna's social media behavior, which he admits is worse than Candace from Potomac. They bring up her complaint about production, other cast members, the reunion. It looks like they didn't even bring up the Dubai situation specifically, and I'm kind of mad about that because that dealt with microaggressions on her part. And of course, for all this, she gives a bullshit-ass excuse. Andy then reads her a question about her being put on pause. She says, okay, I don't care, put me on fucking pause. I don't care. Well, you know what? Be careful what you wish for. Andy, you got the go-ahead. Put her ass on pause. So lastly, another one of her posts is brought up, and it was saying that how every time the cast fights with Garcelle, they're seen as racist. It was a very flippant post that made me roll my eyes. I used to like Lisa Rinna. I still do think that she's top 5 housewives of all time, but she really isn't going about it the right way. She's leaning into the villain character a little bit too much. But clearly her ignorant ass didn't understand the concept of a microaggression, so here go Garcelle trying to break it down for her. A black person explaining to a white person about racism. Film at 11. So as Garcelle finishes explaining that to Lisa, Crystal jumps in and says, well, that's exactly what I was trying to say about my conversation with Sutton. And Kyle, you know, she just could not let it go. Like, she could not just let Crystal have that moment. She disagrees with her and says, well, actually, that's not what happened with you at all. They are going back and forth now. This is the most combative I've ever seen Crystal in her 2 seasons. Andy then says he thinks they're talking about 2 different things. Like, she's talking about her experience with Sutton, and Kyle specifically talking about the dark comment. I honestly don't care, really, because Crystal isn't consistent. And does she have a point? Maybe, but I don't know. It's a little bit too little too late for me. Dorit then asked a dumb question to the group saying, does anyone think anyone here is racist? And it's just so superficial of a question. It negates anything that was talked about by Garcelle. It's not that cut and dry. And look, personally, I do think Diane is a racist. It's my opinion. Am I calling her a racist? No. But do I think she's a racist? Do I think she has racist tendencies? Yes, that's why I call her Racist Diana. Anyway, it's all eye-rolling, and I don't think Andy Cohen has the bandwidth to expound upon this topic. So the segment ends, and we get another fourth wall break. Kathy Hilton is on her way. Some of the ladies, they know the mess is coming, and they need a shot. Kyle is a nervous wreck. We see Lisa Rinna pacing back and forth. If I tell the truth, I mean, that's all I need to do. I just need to tell the truth. That's all I have to do. We see Kathy Hilton getting out that black car, looking like a cartoon character, and she made sure to bring her tequila. And that is where the episode ends. I really didn't care for part 2. It was just blah for me. Again, you know, we see some microaggressions. We also see that Andy Cohen just isn't that great of a moderator. But what can you do? Like, who's going to replace Andy Cohen? I will say the preview for next week looks really good. It's going to be must see. I can't wait for Kathy to lay into Lisa Rinna. With that, y'all let me know, whose side y'all on, what y'all thought about the Garcelle book situation. With that, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.